Hey guys, thanks again for joining me. Oh, thanks for joining me. I got some deliveries today. Kickass have a end of financial year sale on, and I got their instant hot water system and the portable pump pack, the 6 litre per minute portable pump pack. I also got their awning, I think it's the premium awning. It's got the roof, the side walls, and sort of like a drain tray that you can drain it off the hose line to a place away from your camp. But I'll show that in another video. Today we're going to focus on the hot water service. First we'll undo the pump pack. Have a look at that. I haven't opened these yet. They did all arrive together quite quickly, I might add. I'm in Victoria and they're based in Queensland. Okay, let's have a look at this. What's in the box? Okay, there, what have we got here? Okay, warranty card. We'll love looking at those. Okay, some packaging, foam stuff. Okay, tape in the bag. Now I like this unit above the other unit that they had, which was a stickers coming off. They had like a pump on its own where with just some wires coming off it, you got to connect your own switch and you got to connect your own power to it, that sort of thing. They had that, which is cheaper than this. See, the box itself, it looks quite robust and sturdy. Got some nice clips here. Open it up and there we are there. This is what's in the box. Okay, now that doesn't open any further, but here we are. So we've got the pump, we've got our power inlet over here, which was a small Anderson plug type connection, the switch on off over there, and the pump itself, so it's got its own little inline filter that you can, looks like, remove the filter, or strainer rather. Yep, for some large particles, and you just remove it. And that did have some water in it, so it looks like it's been tested. Okay, so a little stainless steel filter, strainer, that can easily be removed. And we have 2 inlets which have plastics to protect the, oh, they're just clip-on hose clamps. I thought they'd be barbs, but they're clip-on hose clamps, like hose fittings, like garden hose fittings. Okay, and they're marked in and out, so you can't stuff it up. Okay. It all fits into that little box. Okay, so there you have it. It's pretty simple. And I'm a little disappointed that it doesn't have sort of a mounting connection somewhere. Yeah, that could, I may have to drill a hole through the bottom, one side and another side here, to have some way to attach it if I wanted to. Or you can make a hook for the handle and you just hang it on the hook, connect it in, and then if you ever needed to open it, it would just come down like that, so you could access the strainer, clean it out. But we'll sort that out once I go. There's also a fuse located in there as well. So a neat little package, I thought. Everything contained into it. I have the Kickass battery box, which I absolutely love, and so that will just be, has the same connectors. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't have a lead in here already to go from there to the box, but that's not a real big deal. I can make one of those myself. Just, I suppose it depends on how long you need it, or where you're going to put this. So obviously it's got to be close to your hot water service. So depending on how long your lead from your outlet to your pump is, and the inlet from your water supply is, will depend on how long this needs to be. So I suppose they've saved you the cost of giving you one, and that way you can make the one as long as you need it. Yeah, so I have some spare plugs, that's no issue, so I can do that, no problem. And there's a switch there, so very easy to get. I suppose you can mount it in any direction you like. You could mount it in this orientation so that the switch is at the top, yeah, or on the side, but then your hoses, yeah, orientation's up to you, I suppose. But yeah, I can't test this out right now because, like I said, I don't have a plug to connect it to. But look, I'm impressed with the case's construction. It's not a cheap case. It's a very good quality case, very sturdy, and it's, when you think about it, everything you need is in here. You could even store that plug in there. There's room to store it in there if you want to. You know, it maybe not a long plug, but you have got a bit of room in there. You could put the plugs there, and you could probably snake it around in there. You'd probably fit a couple of metre plug in there, I reckon, if you wound it around. You find a way to connect that in there. I've no idea how good the pump is. Haven't tried it. Haven't seen one being used, but when I set everything up, I'll be sure to show you it being used, and we can have a look at it together. All right, but so far I'm pretty happy with that. It's quite a nifty little case. They do have them also in, I think, 12 litre per minute as well. But because we're camping, water supply is going to be short unless we camp near a river. But where we plan on camping, we have to take our own water with us. So yeah, the lower litres per minute will probably do us better anyway. Okay, so there's that. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's have a look at the hot water service itself. So now this is supposed to come with, I believe, a 3 metre shower hose, which is what I liked. And I previously I had a Jayco Swan camper, and one of those pop-up type campers, a Swan, and I mounted a hot water service on the front of that, and that was brilliant. But the brand wasn't a Kickass, it was a hot tap, and to tell you the truth, I really wasn't impressed with the hot tap that much. Look, it worked fine, it never broke down, and from memory it didn't blow out, though I had it enclosed in a, actually my father-in-law made an enclosure for me. I gave him the design, and he created like a box for a cover, and I mounted that on the drawbar of my camper. Quite a nice little install. I was very happy with that. The cover was hinged at the bottom, and it would hinge forward, and it had a gas strut which would only allow it to go so far forward, but enough to access the controls for the hot tap, and all the connections for the hot tap as well as for this are from the bottom. There was a cutout in the mounting plate for the box in the bottom to allow all the hose connections to come through. The great thing about the hot tap was it came with a quick connect gas line. It wasn't a threaded gas line, so pack up and like setup was really quick, because it was just a like an airline fitting. It was a spring loaded, slide it back, click it on, and your gas was good to go. You just turned the gas line on and away you went. The hot tap itself, it only had 2 dials. One was for obviously how much water you allowed into the exchanger, and the other one was how hot you wanted it to, so the gas supply, I suppose you'd say, for the burner. It didn't have the third one, which is basically I think it controlled the gas, and for summer you could make it hotter, colder, and for winter you could make it hotter. That's what the center one is for, I think, on the Kickass, and it didn't have that. And look, it worked really well, but in the winter it sort of it struggled a bit with the cold water coming in, I thought, and I think maybe this third one dial for winter and summer may be the saviour for it, to make it work a little better in winter. My friend had an eBay no-name brand which is very similar design to this, and it had that third dial. He paid $100 less for his, and it worked really just the same. So the hot tap was a little on the expensive side, and I thought in winter it sort of lacked the performance that his cheaper one had, which is why I was looking at the cheaper ones. But then I saw Kickass, and when I went to buy it, they didn't have any on their website, and I actually sent them an email saying, well, I'd like to buy your hot water service, but I can't find any. They said they didn't have them on the website because they were waiting for the new ones to come out. They had this is fitted with the new type of gas fitting. I'll show you. In Victoria, I know, I'm not sure about the other states of Australia, but probably all states are going that way too. We have a new gas fitting connection, because they brought out a new type of gas bottle which has a different connection to it. So this hose now matches that, and apparently had to get recertified. So that's what they were waiting for. Anyway, this is their newest line for 2023. I'm not sure if they changed anything on the actual hot tap themselves, but I know it's got the new gas line on it. All right, so let's open it up and have a look. Right, your standard foam packaging. I would prefer this sort of stuff, but this has got that. Right. Remove the foam. Okay, I'll just take that out of the bag. Plastic bag out. Right, and look, from what I can see, we have no damage. Have a little handle here, so we can hang it off something if we need to. We've got some information tags here. I've already watched the video. They put out a video about this unit when fitting the gas fittings to it, not to over tighten them and not to put Teflon tape onto them, because the Teflon was actually making the gas line leak because it's got an O-ring seal on it. Okay, so now I've noticed I am missing some stuff here. What have we got here? We've got the battery case, which just unclips. It takes D-size batteries. That clicks there, and you can I thought it would lock it. There you go. You can lock it. It's off, and then you turn it to on, and it allows you to unlock it. I would have thought on would be the lock and off would be removed, but there you go. Okay, I don't have any batteries at the moment. I'm not going to connect it right now. this is just an unboxing. We'll have a look at it, and then I will do another video where we test the pump and the unit. I'll connect it up to my Kickass battery box, but I do have to make up a power lead for it before I do that as well. Okay, so out of the box, looks quite smart. All powder coated metal surfaces. We've got warning, don't touch, hot, obviously. What have we got here? Keep this appliance away from all combustible materials. Minimum clearance: rear 1 meter, side 1 meter, top 1 meter. Turn gas off at cylinder valve after use. Disconnect and remove cylinder before storing this appliance indoors. Keep children away from the appliance. Indoor use may cause death. Obviously, it's a gas unit. It burns gas. You're going to have an exhaust here in an enclosed area. Definitely a no-no. This unit is for outside use only. Okay, so we've got our 3 dials. As I stated before, you have a minimum, maximum for your burner. You have a minimum, maximum for your water supply. And you also have a summer, winter, and you can put it anywhere in between those two. Well, that is a little creaky, that. But winter, summer. And I think it's either one or the other, because I'm hearing a click. When I take it off winter, you get a click, so it's either maybe one or the other. There is no variable in between. Okay, so there's the unit, and in the box we have our hose, and there's another box right down the bottom there. That's all that's in the box. Here's the hose, and look, from what I can tell, looks like good quality hose. Got our fittings here. They're plastic chromed. Threads are protected. They've got an O-ring seal in there, a bit like your with a brass fitting. And looks like they have been, the fittings are, crimped onto the hose. Hopefully we get a good seal, no leaks. Yeah, I'm not sure how these are going to connect, because the old one that I had, the hot tap, had like a hose, normal garden hose fitting, similar to what's over there was on the pump. So it's going to be interesting how this is going to connect. I'm hoping in there is the type of fittings that will come onto here to fit the hose fitting and here, but we'll find out. So there's the hose, 3 meters as promised, which was good. Some of them you only get 1.5 meters. So the extra long hose is great. I think on the hot tap we got a 5 meter hose, so that really came in handy, because we had an ensuite. We bought I can't remember the name of the company. The Hot Tap is the name of their hot water service, but they do have a name for the company. They also had they called a ensuite pop-up tent type thing. It had an external frame, but it was all in one. You just opened it up and then pegged it down, and then had like a roof cover that connected onto the that you pegged down over the top of it, and that was your ensuite. It had 2 sections, a dry section and a wet section, so when you had to shower inside, water would run out from underneath the sides. We had like a netting, but they had a 5 meter hose, where this is 3, so hopefully that'll be long enough. I'm just going to have to mount it somewhere closer to the awning so that we have enough hose. Alright, so let's have a look at what comes in the little box we have here. So, have our instructions. Our shower head with a looks like 3 settings. Click, click, click. An on, off button. That looks like it connects directly to our shower hose, which is good. And we have our gas hose, and it is the new type of gas hose. I don't know if you can see that in there, but the new type of gas hoses come with this handle to screw them on and off. You don't need a tool to connect that to your gas bottle. You just tightening it with this is enough. And it's a totally new type of fitting. I don't know if you can see that in there. So if you do buy one of the newer ones that they have, you will need a new gas bottle fitting, or I believe you can get an adapter. Or is that only? I'm not sure if you can get an adapter to go from the new type of fitting to your old type of gas bottle. You may have to change your gas bottle, but if you have other appliances, you can get an adapter to go from the new gas bottle fitting to your old gas line. I haven't sourced them myself because I've already swapped over one gas bottle to the new system because I bought a Weber Traveller, and that came with the new gas bottle hose. So I swapped my gas bottle to the new type, but I have a smaller gas bottle that I plan on running with this. So I may have to change that one as well. Okay, so there's the hose. So your standard length, I think it's 1.2 or 1.5 meters. Got your regulator built into it. All hunky-dory there. Instruction manual. Okay, got a couple of, it look like Allen keys, but they're a screw. Not sure about what they're for. Let's open this up. We also have a hose fitting with a reducer. I'm hoping that somehow I don't think that's going to fit the hose fitting on that, because that's an internal thread. I don't know how that's going to work. Oh, well, yeah, it doesn't need to connect to that, sorry. My bad. So basically this will go to your water output thread, which is right there. And there's still a bit of water in there, so they have tested the unit. Okay, so that will connect onto there, like that. Make sure you don't lose your little rubber, or it won't seal. So that is going to connect onto there. It's not left-hand threaded. No. Water output, and it is not going on too well. Alright, so that threads onto there. Just tightening up that chrome section. I think I prefer the quick connect fitting. I may try and find some sort of an adapter or make one myself because yeah, I don't really like it. But anyway, we'll be testing it with that fitting later on. We've got our gas input and our water input is over here, and I dare say that's what this is for. Again, make sure you have your seal, white rubber seal inside there. The adapter is obviously needed because it's too big for the thread. Again, make sure you have a seal in there for the adapter. Tighten that up, and that will screw onto there as such. And just tighten, but don't over tighten it because it has a rubber seal. It doesn't need to be done up. We'll know tomorrow. Now we have another fitting here which I have no idea what's for. This is our gas input. So obviously our gas line, that one will fit to there. Well, that's interesting because that doesn't rotate. So that's going to be fun. Yeah, I would have thought that would swivel unless it's done up tight and you have to loosen it. Maybe I have to read the instructions on that one. Let's get them out and have a look. Okay. So these are the, this is what I was talking about with the ouses in there. They're look like a self-tapping thread, but they have a handle. I'm not sure what they're for. Maybe they will explain. Oh, that's the hanging kit apparently. What these screws are for. It says hanging kit set, not required for operation. Alright, we require 2 D batteries in there. Okay, so what I'm getting here is this is an adapter. Okay, and it must be, because this is made in China, they all pretty much are. What they've done is they've supplied you a new gas hose, the new Australian regulation, and that is an adapter. Okay, now the reason that doesn't swivel is because that's been tightened up on there, and that stops it swiveling. So once I get a spanner and loosen that, it is done up quite tight, so I can't undo it without a spanner. I will then place this onto the gas input line and give it a tighten up to compress that rubber inside there. Then when I loosen this connection here, it will allow it to swivel independent of the hose. Otherwise you will have to twist the entire hose to tighten it up. But I can see that's what's going to happen. So I can't connect that right now. There's no need to because I'm not going to connect it. But I know that is your adapter, and that is to fit this new hose fitting. So that's why they've done that. Okay. So that's all good. I will screw that back in there, put that away, and that's all we have. I'd like to find out what these mounting screws do so I can explain that if I can find it. Okay, so I've had a read through the instructions, and funnily enough, there is no mention other than here at the start. It says here hanging kit, 1 set. Apart from that, there is no mention of the hanging kit through the whole manual, so I have no idea where they attach to. I'm looking at the back of the unit where you would expect that if you were going to hang it, it would be on the back, and I cannot see anywhere where these would screw into. Well, I am having a bit of a think now, because they have an L bracket there. You may be able to screw, because they look like a self-tapping timber type thread. You could screw that into a bit of wood, and then they could sit side by side each other, and the handle here, maybe that sort of thing, hold it up, that's all I can think of, and maybe you hang it like that. The other thing I forgot to mention is you have a little LED display here, and my hot tap had the same thing. That will display your temperature. It shows a little burner, and when the water's flowing, it will show the little shower head in motion of water as well. When reading the instructions, it stated before you turn the unit on, which the way you turn the unit on, there is a switch at the bottom here that you switch to on. Obviously everything needs to be connected. You have to have your batteries in place, but it won't actually run until you open the water on your shower head. So there's a button on the shower head here that when you open it like that, it allows water to flow. Then the flowing through the unit will actually the flow of the water through the unit will make the igniter, you'll hear it clicking, and that will ignite the gas for the heat exchanger, and the burners will ignite and start heating your water up, and it'll come through quite quickly. They work pretty quickly. In the manual it states you can see the flame. I'm assuming it's through this venting here at the front. You might be able to see the flame through there. I didn't have that feature on the hot tap. I could only hear it ignite, but if it went out because of lack of flow, I wouldn't know until the hot water went cold. But like I said, if you're having a shower, you can't see into there anyway. In the manual it recommends that when you start the unit, you have it on the gas on the minimum and the water on the maximum. And the summer and winter settings are basically, once the winter you're using all the burners so you can get the water hotter. In summer, to save you gas, because the water is normally at a warmer temperature, and plus you don't need the water as hot in summer because, let's face it, it's not that cold, so the temperature doesn't need to be as hot. You flick it to summer, it uses less burners, uses less gas, and you can't get the water as hot. So that's the reason for that function there. So there we are. Keep an eye out for the next video that I do for it, where I'll be putting it all to use. We'll go through all the connections and connect it to the battery box and the pump, and we'll show in use, not sharing obviously, just coming out of here, and yeah, we'll test it out and see what it's like. Okay guys, thanks for looking at it. By at the moment, the only thing I'm not really happy with is the instructions. I mean, they tell you most of what it is, but they really more concentrate on the safety side of it, which I suppose it's a gas appliance. We do need to take that into consideration. But yeah, a diagram and labelling of what all these things are would have been a little handier. And like even I mentioned, we supply these things, but we don't tell us what we're supposed to do with them. I'm not even sure that that's what I've told you that that's for. I'm only assuming it says it's a hanger, it's a kit, and that's the only thing I could think of you could use them. So that would have been a little bit better for the instructions. But what I think is this is a made in China unit, and they've just thrown their own Kickass instructions in there, and this may have come with the kit, but they don't utilise those instructions, the original ones, so they haven't been added into what that's supposed to do with this unit. So there's that. Okay, so I'll leave it as that. Look, the quality of the unit I'm pretty happy with. Hose looks good, sturdy. Construction, even the handle, I have no doubt that's going to be good. The fittings, pretty standard stuff. I don't know about the shower head. The hot tap one looked better quality than this did. and that was I had that for about 5 or 6 years, that hot tap one, and this is brand new, and it seems a little cheap to me. Whether I keep this or not, I don't know. I'll test it out first before I condemn it, but yeah, it looks a little cheap, but yeah, time will tell. Quite happy with the hot water hose. It seems a good quality. This actually seems like a stronger, thicker walled hose than the hot tap did, so I'm happier about that. But you know, once you run hot water through it, that's when the proof will be in that pudding. So there's that too. The actual unit itself, you know, everything seems easy enough to get to. Construction seems similar to the hot tap, and a friend of mine's whose unit looks identical to this, other than it doesn't have Kickass written on it. So I'm pretty much, this is like a clone rebranded as Kickass. But look, he had no problem with his. He's used it for many years, and I've even used it myself when I went camping with him. You know, exactly the same design. And his worked fine. So I'll have no doubt that this will as well. As far as the pump goes, very happy with the casing. Very solid case. The switch, it's looks like it's waterproof, so it'll take some weather. Got your Anderson plug type power connection, and yeah, very easy in and out, simple operation. So I'm pretty happy with that so far. But again, we haven't tried them yet, so hopefully this will all work very well together. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.